In a quiet corner of the countryside lived Dan and his parents. Dan was their only child, growing up on a small farm surrounded by soft hills. His days were filled with the smell of fresh soil and the sounds of farm animals all around. His aging parents, though tired, were his greatest teachers, sharing all their farming knowledge with him. Despite their hard work, the family often struggled to make ends meet. One day, Dan's uncle visited the farm. With a concerned look, he suggested that Dan move to the city in search of better job opportunities. The idea weighed heavily on Dan's heart, but he knew it might be the only way to secure a better future for his family. With a mix of hope and sorrow, his parents sold some of their livestock to provide him with pocket money for his journey. The city was a total change from the peaceful farm life Dan was used to. The towering buildings and busy streets were overwhelming. Despite his best efforts, Dan faced rejection after rejection, and soon, he found himself homeless, wandering the streets with a heavy heart. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a mysterious man approached Dan. His eyes glinted with a mix of curiosity and intent. "Are you looking for an opportunity?" he asked. Desperate and wary, Dan listened as the man offered him a delivery job, promising handsome pay for delivering packages to various customers. Though the offer seemed suspicious, Dan's desperation outweighed his caution, and he accepted. Dan's first delivery was a nerve-wracking experience, but he managed to complete it successfully. However, his second delivery took a dark turn. As he handed over the package, authorities swarmed in, revealing that he had been unknowingly delivering contraband. Dan was arrested and spent a harrowing month in a jail cell, grappling with regret and uncertainty. Upon his release, Dan found himself at a crossroads. With no clear path ahead, he turned to the one thing that had always brought him solace: singing. He began performing on street corners, his soulful voice drawing in crowds. The money he earned was modest, but enough to sustain him. Weeks turned into months. Dan prepared a letter to send to his parents, assuring them of his safety and well-being. He enclosed his meager savings from street performances, hoping to ease their burdens. With a hopeful heart, he sent the letter to his parents' home. A few months later, Dan's talent caught the attention of a talent manager who saw potential in his raw, heartfelt performances. Dan's star began to rise. The talent manager offered him a chance to perform on bigger stages, and Dan seized the opportunity, believing it to be his big break. His rise to fame was swift, but he never forgot where he came from. Within a year, he decided to return to his hometown to visit his parents. Driving through familiar landscapes, Dan's excitement turned to worry as he approached his parents' home. The once well-kept farm now looked neglected and miserable. His heart pounded as he entered the house, only to find his parents weak and sick. Their faces lit up with joy upon seeing him, but their frailty was evident. Through tears, his mother revealed that they had never received any letters or money from him. It turned out that his uncle had intercepted everything, using it to fund his own lavish lifestyle, while Dan's parents suffered in silence. Despite Dan's frantic efforts to get them medical help, it was too late. His parents succumbed to their illnesses, leaving Dan devastated. He had gained fame and fortune, but the most important part of his life was gone. The farm, once a symbol of his family's hard work and love, now stood as a touching reminder of what he had lost. In the wake of his parents' passing, Dan was consumed by grief and guilt. The farm, now a shadow of its former self, seemed to echo his sorrow. Determined to honor his parents' memory, Dan decided to restore the farm to its former glory. He used his newfound wealth to hire workers and buy the best equipment, transforming the neglected land into a thriving farm once more. As the farm flourished, Dan found solace in the work. The community, touched by his dedication, rallied around him. They shared stories of his parents' kindness and resilience, reminding Dan of the values they had instilled in him. Slowly, the farm became a beacon of hope and prosperity in the area. Despite his success, Dan couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal by his uncle. He confronted him, demanding an explanation for his actions. The confrontation was heated, but ultimately, Dan chose to forgive his uncle, realizing that holding on to anger would only hinder his healing. Instead, he focused on building a legacy that would make his parents proud. Dan's fame continued to grow, and he used his platform to advocate for farmers and rural communities. He started a foundation in his parents' name, providing resources and support to struggling farmers. His efforts garnered widespread recognition, and he became a beloved figure both in the city and his hometown. Years passed, and Dan's life came full circle. He married a kind-hearted woman who shared his passion for farming and community work. Together, they raised a family on the farm, teaching their children the same values of hard work, resilience, and compassion that Dan's parents had taught him. One sunny afternoon, as Dan watched his children play in the fields, he felt a deep sense of peace. He had faced many trials and tribulations, but he had emerged stronger and more determined. The farm, once a symbol of loss, had become a testament to his journey and the enduring legacy of his parents. Dan knew that life would always have its challenges, but he was ready to face them with the same strength and determination that had carried him through his darkest days. And as the sun set over the rolling hills, he whispered a silent promise to his parents, to continue their legacy and make them proud, no matter what the future held. With a heart full of gratitude and hope, Dan looked forward to the future, knowing that his parents' spirit would always guide him. And as the first stars appeared in the night sky, he knew that he was exactly where he was meant to be, carrying forward a legacy that would inspire generations to come. Thank you for listening to my short story audiobook. If you like my video, please click the like and subscribe button. Until next time.